Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at GrowFolds, and today we will be big box store plant shopping at Lowe's out in McKinney, Texas. As always, please make sure you are pressing the thumbs up or like button for this video. It definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. We'd love to see this community grow, so please make sure you are pressing that like button for this video, as well as give me a follow on Instagram. My handle is at GrowFolds. Feel free to send me a direct message if you have any questions about the plants or anything that I feature on my YouTube channel. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, I am really excited today to be giving you another brand new video of big box store plant shopping. You know, I mentioned that in North Dallas, at least during the summertime, I always wonder whether the places will actually have new plants. But before we get into that, I did want to go ahead and talk about Classy Rabbit soil. So for those that have been following my YouTube channel, you already know that I always ask this question: have you pooped on your plants today? If you have not pooped on your plants today, then today is the day you need to poop on your plants, because Classy Rabbit Soil is a local small business based out in North Texas, out in McKinney, Texas. It is an amazing soil that I recently discovered. I wouldn't even say recently discovered. I have discovered when I went to PlantCon 2025 in Orlando, Florida. You can see right here, I am potting up an Aglaonema golden powder in a terracotta planter using a bag of Classy Rabbit soil. What I love about Classy Rabbit soil is a super chunky, fast draining soil that is 100% naturally sourced ingredients. So as far as the soil, it is a complete soil because you don't have to add adamants or anything to make it chunky. It has some amazing ingredients. So it has composted food waste. It's got rice hulls. It's got pumice. It's got natural mycorrhizae, which help develop the roots for a stronger, healthy plant. So as you can see right here, I just potted up my Aglaonema golden powder, which I actually got from Peta's Planters, which is another local small business out in Dallas, Texas. So as you can tell, plant foldies, even though I do feature a lot of big box store plant shopping, know that I also love to support local small businesses. As you can see right here, this is a prime example of how fast draining this soil is. I absolutely love it. And if you've been following my YouTube channel, I get a lot of plants from overseas. And one thing about overseas plants is there is an acclimation period. And so for me, after I've used Classy Rabbit soil, I have a higher chance of actually getting the plants to recover from all the stress that happens whenever they travel, like say 10,000 miles from another country out in Southeast Asia. You can see right here how fast that water just went through the soil. But just because it's a fast draining soil does not mean it does not retain moisture. It definitely does. So as far as Classy Rabbit soil, definitely check out Classy Rabbit soil at classyrabbit.com. They do offer free shipping on minimal orders, so I would definitely do it. And for the plant foldies that have actually tried the soil, thank you so much for supporting a local small business. Let's get Classy Rabbit soil trending. Let's all poop on our plants. Have you pooped on your plants today? I did, and will continue to poop on my plants. So as you guys know, I love to just kind of joke around and actually really promote Classy Rabbit soil. So I hope you guys are not tired of some of the promos I do in my big box or plant shopping videos. I have been told that I'm a little bit commercial, but you know what? As far as being commercial per se as a content creator, for me, Classy Rabbit Soil does not really officially sponsor me. I just like to recommend products or services that I have tried and you are more than willing to try as well, or at least hopefully you will, because they, at least from my experience, have been a really good product. So Classy Rabbit Soil, definitely check that out. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, I have tried my very best to do big box or plant shopping videos. I've been working really hard on trying to be more consistent. So you can see right after work, after working a good 10 hours, I went ahead and drove myself out to North McKinney, Texas. This is the Lowe's right off of I-75. So for those that are familiar of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I am based out in North Dallas. So a lot of my big box or plant shopping videos really feature a lot of the North Dallas big box stores such as Lowe's, Walmart, Home Depot, and even the local businesses out here. But as you can see right here, I was just really curious. And I say this, I'm really curious to see if Lowe's is really getting plants restocked. As you can see from my previous videos that featured Lowe's, a lot of the Lowe's are getting restocked. So I recently discovered some amazing 8-inch Manjula Pothos hanging baskets by Costa Farms for $20.98. So we'll see what we can find here. But quintessential grow folds big box or plant shopping video, I like to also feature the outdoor garden plants because to me, growing plants should not just be limited to just indoor tropical plants. I know that there are some people like my grandmother, for instance, and thank you to everybody that has supported my Lola Belen. Lola means grandmother in Tagalog, which is the official language of the Philippines. That is my family's heritage. She was just super excited to really share her plants. So I did want to say thank you to all of the plant foldies. And for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome to the channel. My name is Richie, and I try to at least do daily 1-hour plant shopping videos with a live premiere chat that typically happens at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you happen to catch this video during a live premiere chat, please say hello. We have some friendly plant foldies that are always on the chat. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, I'm feeling very chatty. I'm feeling very excited because I'm able to do a voiceover and edit a video. That way I can start your week off right with a big box or plant shopping video. So during this video, I'm going to just be giving you some plant insights, whether it's plant pricing, plant care tips, or better yet, I'm just going to talk to you directly. So my content is just a little bit different as compared to maybe another plant content creator. I tend to, I'm going to say this. I tend to ramble a lot, but it's because I like to talk to my viewers and subscribers, supporters directly. I'm a very transparent person. I always am one of those folks that will be an advocate for being your most authentic self. And so my message today is, what is your random act of kindness? Because as I continue to make this social media content, as I look at some of the content that's out there, there can be some toxicity. So I always want to foster a place where everybody feels welcome, where everybody is accepted for who they are and how they want to be, as long as you're not hurting anybody. So feel free to leave in the comment section below, what is your random act of kindness? I do appreciate those that have sent me a direct message on Instagram, actually letting me know what their random act of kindness was. I know I had a couple of plant foldies said that they actually donated some plants to a community of people that were in need of just bringing something and bringing joy to them. And so, for me, plants really do make people happy. I do believe that plants bring people joy. And so as I walk around this Lowe's Garden Center, I'm just going to pan around and show you some amazing plants. You can see right over here, we've got an amazing alocasia or an elephant ear. This one is another one of those patio plants that you can grow in a shaded area. And I love azaleas. So encore azaleas are azaleas that will rebloom 3 times a year, spring, summer, and fall. I love azaleas because they do remind me of Japanese garden aesthetics, and anything that is Japanese culture, I absolutely love. People will always ask me why I call my plant YouTube channel Grow Folds, because it's not like Grow Folds plants or plants with Richie. It is literally Grow Folds. And I'm going to repeat myself, and I do apologize for anybody that continues to say, Richie, you're super repetitive. Yes, I am super repetitive, but I am okay with that because I feel like being repetitive is just kind of like my routine of kind of getting my point across. But anyways, I call my YouTube channel Grow Folds because this channel originally was an origami ASMR channel. So I was utilizing it as more of a coping mechanism content creation because about 2 years ago, I was really suffering from anxiety, specifically OCD, where I will fixate on a negative thought and I would just have that loop in my mind. And so I actually got some help. And one thing about OCD is you can actually utilize OCD as a way of being, having superpowers. So instead of focusing on something that would be negative, I have the wherewithal to actually obsess about something that could be proactive. And so growing up, I loved origami, and I loved, folding origami paper cranes. And so that's still a goal of mine, Plant Foldies, is to fold 1 million paper cranes. So I'm going to get to my point. The reason why I call my YouTube channel Grow Folds is because I wanted to merge my love for plants, my passion for growing plants, alongside with the art of origami, because I do believe that origami, it really helps you practice mindfulness, it practice patience, and just, it's a beautiful art. And so, for those that don't know, I love to unfold origami paper cranes. For those that have bought plants from Peta's Planters, which is a local small business, they do Instagram live selling. I have donated some origami paper cranes. So just a little tidbit, I, want to try to, sprinkle some tidbits about the YouTube channel, because we are getting more and more new subscribers, and I really appreciate that support. And so that's the reason why I call my YouTube channel Grow Folds. Now, getting to the plants right over here, you can see that I like to also look at plants that are outdoor garden plants. So I've always been obsessed, and I don't know why, I love variegated ajuga. It is a perennial plant in my grow zone, which is 8B, and I've always thought about trying to grow that indoors. There are a lot of plants that are basically versatile plants. So there's some plants that you can grow outdoors or indoors. And I have another YouTube video where I'm going to feature my big box or plant shopping excursion at Home Depot, where I talk specifically about plants that you can grow as an outdoor garden plant or adapt as a house plant. So we're looking at this begonia, this flowering begonia, for instance. Curious to see if anybody's actually grown a flowering begonia indoors. Now, crotons, for instance, are marketed as a house plant, but I truly believe they do much better outdoors. And, that's something that I've really talked about with our plants that are adaptable as an indoor house plant or outdoor garden plant. Now, as far as this plant right here, I'm really excited to see an Arabian jasmine. This is actually the national flower of the Philippines, $12.98. In the Philippines, we call the Arabian jasmine sampaguita. We make little garlands with this, such a fragrant flower. It's also used for jasmine tea, and it's a perennial actually in my grow zone, which is 8B. And I actually asked my grandmother to go ahead and propagate some sampaguita or Arabian jasmine for me, because she's able to do it through just plant cuttings. $12.98 is not a bad price for it. What will happen with this particular plant is it will die back in the winter, especially in North Dallas, but it will come back year after year, which I think is quite interesting considering it's more of a tropical plant. And then you can see right over here, Plant Foldies, we've got a beautiful cordyline, and then we just have rows and rows of alternatera. That was more of the green neon ground cover, and we have tons of beautiful flowering begonia. And with flowering begonias, again, I have always thought that maybe, just maybe, you'd be able to grow these plants long-term indoors. Somebody in the comment section, if you've tried that before, please leave that in the comment section, because I'm just really curious about some of the plants that become an adaptable house plant that's typically grown outdoors. So we'll see what that will look like as well. Plant Foldies right here, we are looking at coleus. This is another coleus combination. So there's 3 different types of coleus plants, and I love coleus plants. Last year, I had a full-blown obsession of coleus plants. I had so many varieties. I would go to different types of local nurseries, big box stores, and if it was a coleus I didn't have, I would buy it. Coleus plants are typically plants that would typically grow in a shaded area, although they have what they call sun coleus, where they've been hybridized to where they can take full sun. This one right here, for instance, the bright neon colored one, is one that can grow in full sun. I really love coleus plants. plants, and coleus plants can be trained to become of like a indoor tree. You can actually braid up the stems and make it into a beautiful tree. There are a lot of European Instagram pages that feature coleus, so that's another plant that is definitely not considered an indoor tropical house plant, but it is a plant that you can grow indoors long term. And the only thing I would say about coleus plants is that they are very thirsty plants. You need to make sure that you're consistently watering them. And as I show you these beautiful flowering begonias, again, it's one of those types of plants that I think most plants are adaptable to becoming an indoor house plant. You just have to give it the right conditions indoors. I have been spending quite a bit of time just kind of talking about plant products because a lot of people have mentioned they've learned a lot from me in terms of just plants in general. So I like to give recommendations. Super Thrive for $15.98 is a plant product I would do, but also Take Root, this garden safe propagation powder. So if you want to plant propagate, my grandmother has gotten me super inspired to propagate plants. I would use that. Fish fertilizer. So this Alaska fish plant food is amazing. It is a natural plant fertilizer, one that is gentle on plants, one that I would recommend as well. Now, if you have an aquarium, like my friend Janae Simone of Janae Simone's plant YouTube channel, she has an aquarium where she uses aquarium water. That's a really good water to use to water your plants. And then if you like Miracle-Gro fertilizer, so some people have their opinions, and you know, we're all entitled to our opinions, but like I said again, let's always show respect and kindness to each other. Some people have their opinions about Miracle-Gro. I love Miracle-Gro fertilizers, and the thing about Miracle-Gro fertilizers is, for instance, this all-purpose plant food by Miracle-Gro, super cost-effective, budget-friendly plant fertilizer. It works for indoor tropical plants as well as outdoor garden plants. So that's something I would recommend in terms of plant fertilizers. And Scott's Super Bloom. So this is the best, in my opinion, the best bloom booster fertilizer because it has such a high concentration of phosphorus. And then you can't go wrong with Osmocote Plus. It is a slow release fertilizer that you can mix in your soil substrate. I really love that as well. So those are some of my plant recommendations. And as I finish up the outdoor garden section of Lowe's, you can see these beautiful hanging baskets. And so I don't really know a lot about this plant. I love the silver foliage of this plant. So in the comment section, plant foldies, I learned so much from y'all. Leave in the comment section plant care tips, plant name on that plant and what you would recommend. And I also wanted to show you the beautiful dark foliage of this blooming begonia. I love the white blooms on it. And you know, as far as the outdoor garden section, it's just amazing that you can find plants that can be adaptable to house plants. So leave in the comment section what you think about some of these plants, whether you would try to grow these indoors or are you strictly somebody that would just grow them in your garden. Now, I did want to pan over to Charlotte and Catriona. So these are my baby chickens that I have been growing. They were born on Cinco de Mayo or May 5th. I got them as day-old chickens from a Tractor Supply area called, or a feed shop called Gibo's in North McKinney, Texas. It's actually in the same shopping center as this Lowe's location. You can see that they're living their best life in their coop. So I always like to show the plant foldies a little clip of my chickens. Please don't swipe away. I promise I'm going to get to the main event. But I like to put little snippets of some of my personal life, some of my blogs. And you can see right here, my Barred Rock hen is the black and white zebra type looking chicken. And then my Rhode Island Red, her name is Catriona. She is named after Miss Universe 2018, Catriona Gray from the Philippines. So me being Filipino American, being a proud Filipino American, one thing that we really love is, I know it sounds silly, beauty pageants. Miss Universe is literally life for many Filipinos. We love watching pageants. And so as far as my Barred Rock chicken, Charlotte. She was actually named after a video game character called Charlotte of an arcade game called Samurai Spirit. So I like to just give you guys little tidbits about my chickens. You can see right here, they are really enjoying their feed. They are growing up so fast. And to all the plant foldies that continue to support my content that is outside of just the plant big box or plant shopping video niche. You know, that's interesting that YouTube does kind of confine you a little bit in a specific niche. I love the fact that you guys allow me to deviate slightly. So if you want to support my little baby chickens, feel free to drop a super sticker. It is basically a monetary tip that you can give a YouTube content creator. It does go through some of their supplies as well. And I did want to shout out David, who always gives us plant foldy gifts of super stickers, and as well as YouTube membership tiers, as well as Auntie Angelique for always supporting her nieces, Charlotte and Catriona. So as you can see right here, plant foldies, look at this gorgeous Lowe's location. So Lowe's is definitely getting restocked in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So plant foldies, local plant foldies in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, run to Lowe's. Don't walk, run to Lowe's if you want to see some beautiful new houseplants for your indoor space. You can see they even have some beautiful Croton Petras here by Costa Farms. And guess what? These are normally $22.98, but there are Lowe's deals for $14.98. You can see that Costa Farms has some beautiful Dieffenbachia Sublimes. We've got some Dracaena Lime Lights, Dracaena Rikis, and we are also getting a bunch of these blooming anthuriums, just the red variety, in a seasonal planter by Costa Farms. These are for $9.95. And shout out again to Costa Farms. Thank you for always having readily available houseplants at a cost-effective, budget-friendly price for the general public. So you can see that Costa Farms always does releases where they may just restock a big box store like Lowe's. Lowe's will typically have the most Costa Farms plants. Love Costa Farms, and you know, some people will have their opinions of Costa Farms, but like I said again, plant foldies, always exercise kindness. If you have an opinion or something that you feel strongly about, it is okay to have that opinion. It is okay to have a disagreement, but to flat out criticize somebody and not have an open dialogue. I always say, let's be able to have differences in opinion and still be able to conversate with each other, whether it's politically, whether it's an opinion-based thing about some sort of controversial subject. So I'm going to delve into that because, as you already know, plant foldies, along with me talking about houseplants, I like to just utilize my platform on YouTube to really talk about social media etiquette and how we just should treat each other with kindness and respect. It is okay to disagree, but it is not okay to name call each other or criticize somebody. It's always a good thing. I always tell people this. It is great to have a difference in opinion. It's kind of like how the United States has two very different political parties, whichever way you run. And, you know, some people say, Richie, you should really steer away from any controversial topics or politics. All I will just say is this. It is okay to have friends. You know, there are people where it's like you lean into a specific political party or a specific mindset, and it's like once you discover somebody has an opposite opinion, it's like you can't have a conversation or you can't be friends. I have a diverse group of friends with different opinions about politics, different opinions about just lifestyle. But I always say it's always good to have those difference of opinions. It makes life more interesting. It makes conversation even more interesting, especially if you keep your mind open-minded. So that's really my message today. And I mentioned this in some of my plant shopping videos that I'm going to be delving slightly in different topics and just giving you guys my random musings and opinions about certain lifestyle blogs or just certain subjects in general. So I hope you guys will still continue to engage in my my plant content, but just know that I also like to just talk about things that are just on my mind. There's just a lot of divide amongst people. You know, whenever you turn on the news, there's really either one side or not a neutral side. I would always say with anybody that's watching my videos, let's just all agree to disagree, but also be able to move past disagreement and still have a happy, positive community. I mean, we can all agree that we like to say Hydra Helix. For instance, this one is a Bettina Ivy for $9.97. And if you notice, look at the beautiful texture of this beautiful golden yellow tone for this planter. So Costa Farms has kind of leveled up in terms of their planters. And, you know, as far as English Ivy, if you are new to the channel, the correct way to say it is Hedera Helix. But I just feel like there's a little bit more flavor, a little bit more pizzazz when, say it with me, plant foldies, Hydra Helix. Okay, I know that it's probably cringy, but you know what? I find it interesting when people do call me cringy because it's okay to be cringy. It's okay to be cringy if you are embracing your most authentic self. So Hydra Helix it is. Now, as far as the Dracaena Janet Craig Compacta, this one is for $9.97. And so you'll see two very different plants, the English Ivy versus the Janet Craig Compacta Dracaena. That is a very easy to care for plant versus the English Ivy. For those that have tried the Hydra Helix Challenge 2025, it's basically a bunch of plant foldies that decided to buy English Ivies and try to grow them indoors and count how many days, months, where they can prevent the English Ivy from getting spider mites. Because I would say of all the plants that you will take indoors to try to adapt as an indoor houseplant, the English Ivy is the most susceptible to spider mites. Now, I asked the plant foldies, leave in the comment section below if you agree, but I do think that English Ivy is one of the challenging plants because it's so spider mite prone, and I'm not 100% sure why. Now, as far as another plant that is underrated, and I will have to say that when I started doing big box store plant shopping videos about 1.5 years ago, I used to not really understand why bromeliads were so readily available at big box stores. But then the more I spent looking at just the details and simplicity of the plant, I do find it beautiful. Now, as far as a plant that is really getting my attention, I really am tempted. And I say I'm tempted to buy a Dieffenbachia. So if you look at a Dieffenbachia, does that not look like one of my favorite plants to grow, which is the Aglaonema? Let me know in the comment section below. But the Dieffenbachia is another plant that I already know requires a little bit more light, a little bit more water, and a little bit more attention in terms of pest preventatives. And that's the reason why I have steered away from it. As far as the plants we always look at, you already know I'm going to show you an English Ivy, a Dracaena, an Anthurium, a Pothos plant, a Philodendron, a Phalaenopsis orchid. Let's be real, these are plants that I will typically see at big box stores. But my thing about these plants at big box stores is, do you ever really think about the plant you're about to buy, whether it's going to require a lot of plant care? I think a lot of times we end up plant hoarding because we feel like we need the plant. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree or disagree. I am hoping that you guys will give me some more insights about some of the plants that you are currently growing and your opinions. Now, I have been growing a lot of plants from seeds as well. Since I have chickens, I have grown some sunflowers. I literally just threw the sunflowers in my yard and had a automated sprinkler system that watered the ground, and I was able to actually get a bunch of sunflowers to just germinate. Same thing with coleus plants. And you know, I talk about coleus plants. I think you can grow coleus from seeds. I did that before. And then California poppy, the Thai silk, that's something that I want to go ahead and grow from seed. Now, as far as the summertime, I don't know if it's too late to grow plants from seed. What I do want to do in terms of growing plants from seed is I definitely want to grow some more zinnias. I definitely want to grow some more marigolds, because flowers apparently can be given to chickens, as a source for making their yolk a little bit more orange. So let me know in the comment section if that is true, plant foldies. And my favorite zinnia to grow is a candy cane zinnia. It's basically the variegated zinnia. And then the giant double enchantress zinnia, that's a beautiful one as well. Zinnias are super easy, and what's interesting about zinnias is if you grow them in a sunny spot, you will get zinnias growing back year after year. I wouldn't say they're necessarily perennials, but they drop seeds, and when the right conditions are there, specifically warmth, sunlight, and consistent watering, they will germinate and come back to you year after year. So I am really curious if the plant foldies that watch my videos are really strictly about the indoor tropical plants such as aroids, for instance, anthuriums, philodendrons, monsteras, or are you also somebody that loves outdoor gardening, somebody that wants to grow a flower garden, an herb garden, a vegetable garden? Let me know in the comment section, plant foldies, because I really love everything there is about plants. And you know, if you've watched some of my videos about my grandmother, she basically grows any type of plant. And I did want to take the time again to say thank you to all the plant foldies. Thank you so much for the blessings, the prayers, for my grandmother's continued health. She is 90 years old. If you are discovering my Big Box Store Plant Shopping channel today, I hope you will click on the YouTube thumbnails that feature my grandmother, because she is literally a source of inspiration for me. A lot of the reason why I love plants is because she got me into plants, and she really just taught me a lot about life. You know, she worries sometimes about just how long she'll live because she's 90, but I always remind my grandmother that she is so blessed and so lucky to be so healthy at her age. I mean, she doesn't have to have a cane. She can walk around, she can cook. Her hearing is good, her eyesight is good, her health is great. Everything about her health, I would even be thankful to live even nearly as close to her and still have the same quality of life. And she does attribute a lot of that because of growing plants. And that's the reason why plant foldies, as I take you alongside with me to go big box store plant shopping, as I pick up these plants like this beautiful bromeliad in a coconut shell type planter, just know that if you include plants in your life, you are going to have a very meaningful, very great mental and physical health, because plants really do enhance that, or at least based on my grandmother. And I will say my grandmother is a primary example of somebody that has been growing plants at such an early age. And I mean, the fact that she's lived so far 90 years old, 9 decades and counting, you can't go wrong with that. Now let's go back to the plants here. You can see that there are some hanging baskets that Costa Farms is releasing. So this is called the Yesenia pothos, $20.98. And you can see the Yesenia pothos is one of those interesting pothos. And the reason why I say it is one of those pothos that is easily one that reverts. It is highly just influenced by the amount of light you give it. If you don't give it enough bright indirect light, it will revert to green. But if you increase the light, it's interesting how it has that minty, ghostly look. And then speaking of anthuriums, you can see this is a super balm anthurium right over here. Really like the look of this particular anthurium as well. And I just love the fact that these anthuriums are also available through Live Trends Design Planters. And then you can see right here, bonsai. These are for $12.98. This is by Costa Farms. This one is a ficus ginseng. So any ficus plant, anything that says ficus, just know that a ficus plant will always need lots of bright indirect light, sometimes even full sun. And then you can see right over here, we've got some more hanging baskets by Costa Farms. The 8-inch hanging baskets by Costa Farms are for $20.98. I honestly prefer the 6-inch hanging baskets for $16.98, just because it's easier to hang, it's not as heavy, and there's just less surface space that it takes. But this is a beautiful lipstick plant right over here. And here is a Yesenia potho. So you'll see that this is another hanging basket by Costa Farms. It is an uncommon pothos plant, but you'll notice that a lot of the leaves are mostly green. That is a result of the plant not necessarily getting a lot of bright indirect light. And then over here, plant foldies, we've got a Syndapsis trubii moonlight. trending tropical plant right here for $19.84. It is a beautiful plant, but you know what Syndapsis, what I realized about Syndapsis is they're just a little bit too slower of a growth for me. So if instead of adding Syndapsis to my plant collection, I've just inundated my plant collection with pothos plants. So the majority of my plants I'm growing are Aglaonema and pothos plants. I've kind of just gone back to the basics when it comes to easy care plants that are a little bit more forgiving. I will say that the Philodendron Birkin is another plant that is forgiving, and then also a Philodendron Pink Princess. So what's exciting about Costa Farms is that they've been able to lower the price for a Philodendron Pink Princess. They used to be $19.98 as a trending tropical plant, but now they are only $15.98 in a self-watering planter. You can see this one has a beautiful half moon pink variegation. Philodendron Pink Princess, you really want to be picky in terms of the variegation. The more variegation the plant initially has, the higher chance that this plant is actually going to push out more pink variegation. There are varieties of Philodendron Pink Princess with more of a green leaf tone or a more burgundy tone. So I'm not sure if it's just different strands of tissue culture plants, but needless to say, Philodendron Pink Princess comes in many varieties, and it's exciting to see that Costa Farms has lowered the price. And then you can see right here, this is another example of a plant that relies on lots of light in order for it to maintain its coloration. So this is a Chameleon ZZ plant, and you can see that it's got that yellowish variegation, but mostly green, and that is a result of just the plant not getting nearly as much bright indirect light. You just want to make sure whenever you're buying plants that you understand the lighting conditions that it requires for it to have optimal conditions in terms of variegation and coloration. Ficus elastica ruby, $15.98. Beautiful plant, and I have to say ficus or rubber tree plants are fun plants to grow. They do require quite a bit of light. Honestly, they're easier to grow outdoors in full sun. I know that I have had a couple of these growing out in full sun, and they are thriving. They're very easy to propagate as well. You can just chop a stem off, stick the node in some soil, and it will root. So this is another plant that can become a full-blown tree in optimal environments, such as the Philippines, where I've seen them for as tall as like 20 feet in height. It was fantabulous. And then you can see over here, I'm always reminded by my plant foldy David. Shout out to David again. I know I've been shouting David out, but he is a super plant foldy that likes to rescue plants in big box stores. So whenever I look at the clearance section at Lowe's, I look at all of these plants which are on clearance for 50% off. I think about David and some of the other plant foldies that want to rescue some of these plants that are on sale for 50% off. This one is a variegated lipstick plant, for instance. As far as plants that are on clearance, just know that there is going to be a rehabilitation period. These plants are not always in the best health condition, which means they're a little bit more susceptible to plant pests, and they're just going to require a little bit more effort. This Ficus shivriana, for instance, is a beautiful plant. I would say this one's not a bad one to actually take home and rescue. I would totally rescue this one if I had the funds. You know, as always, I always mention to the plant foldies, if you're ever wanting to send a super sticker or a super thanks, which is a monetary tip for a YouTube content creator, you can do so, but I would totally rescue this if I had the funds. I do love Ficus shivriana. I would totally grow that outdoors in full sun, and I bet it would put on so much growth in no time. Now you can see over here we've got some beautiful planters. I do love Lowe's planters, and that's going to be another future episode where I talk a little bit more so about planters and plant aesthetics. And then you can see right here Dracaena mesangiana, or the corn plant. This one has a nice trunk and stem. One of the other plants that most people would consider as almost like an office plant or a business corporate plant, but I still find it beautiful. And then we've got a bunch of majesty palms right here. I'm not really a fan of majesty palms because number one, they're a little bit more spider mite prone. Number two, they require a little bit more light. And number three, they just get too big of a space for me to actually have in my home. And then over here, Cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. This is another plant that I love. I love the colors. Unfortunately, this is a plant that really needs to be growing outdoors, because if you try to grow this indoors, it's one of those plants kind of like the Hydra Helix, where it is really susceptible to spider mites. So this one right over here is one that I would recommend as more of a patio plant or an outdoor plant versus just growing them indoors. So we can see what that all looks like long term if you're able to grow Cordyline Hawaiian tea plants. And then over here, we've got some different types of orchids. We've got a Phalaenopsis orchid, and I really, really love the granite type terracotta planter. Really nice gray color. I love neutral colors because they tend to be less distracting versus the really vibrant colors when it comes to plants. And then this is another beautiful hanging basket of pothos. So this one is called the Grindula pothos, and it's basically a Grindula pothos is a pothos plant that has been reverted from a Mandula pothos into just a green variety. I still think it's beautiful, and you know, I always tell people, don't forget about the green plants. They are the easiest to take care of. They're the most vigorous. They're the ones that I would definitely recommend, and these are only for $16.98 in a 6-inch hanging basket. So I really like the look of this one right here. It's one that if you're looking for a budget-friendly, easy care plant, beginner plant, please go ahead and go shopping for a pothos plant. Any variety really works well. This one though, I do think that Costa Farms has released a couple of uncommon pothos plants. So we saw the Mandula pothos, which is, I think, the best plant find I've seen so far. But this is an example of a beautiful Yesenia pothos that has gotten a lot of bright indirect light. You'll see that it's got mostly a ghostly, minty variegation. Beautiful plant. Now, if you were to put that in a darker space, it would eventually become more green. But what's interesting about the Yesenia pothos, and we're going to pull another one right here, is if you were to take this one right here that's mostly green outdoors in an area that gets a lot of light, it will actually lighten up and get a little ghostly minty variegation again. And then you can see over here, this is another Hydra Helix. Say it with me, plant foldies. Hydra Helix with a smile. This is another hanging basket of an English ivy. Beautiful plant. But like I said, again, you need to just grow your English ivy outdoor in a planter. I'm not recommending growing them as a ground cover because they are super invasive of a plant. So English ivy is there for the win if you grow them outdoors. And then plant foldies, another beautiful Yesenia pothos right here. Look at that variegation. I love it. I would want to add it to my plant collection, but I already have 2 Yesenia hanging basket pothos in my plant collection. So what I want to do, because my grandmother has actually inspired me, is to actually propagate and take cuttings of more plants. As far as the plants that we see at this Lowe's location, I wouldn't say that this is a massive plant restock, but there's still quite a bit of plants to choose from. Really love that they do have the Yesenia pothos. And I'm just curious, plant foldies, if you actually have grown a Yesenia pothos, what your thoughts are on it reverting. And then you can see right here, urban jungle plants. This one is a beautiful Aglaonema Golden Bay. I love the white stems. Aglaonemas are my favorite plant. I'm going to be getting some more Aglaonemas from overseas this week. I really just love the fact that they're easy to care for plants. They really just need bright indirect light, but they are able to tolerate lower light conditions. As far as the soil media, you want to make sure you have fast draining soil that doesn't really stay too soggy, because Aglaonemas don't like to be on the wetter side. They like to be more so on the drier side. So that means if you're going to grow an Aglaonema, just wait till the soil is completely dry and then water it, and that is it. It is one of the plants that you can easily propagate because it does push out little baby pups that you can separate from the mother plant. I do want to eventually gather some seeds from Aglaonema, but the whole process takes a little bit longer. I'm just glad that, you know, Aglaonema Golden Bay, if you are wanting to start out with an easy care plant, please go buy yourself one at a big box store. So As I continue to walk around here at Lowe's, I'm going to show you some of their larger plants that are on sale. So these are normally for $22.98, but right now they've got some Lowe's deals. So these are actually on sale using the Lowe's My Rewards app, or my Lowe's Rewards app, to where you will get the Lowe's deal for $14.98. This is another beautiful Dieffenbachia, for instance. Really like the look of this one as well. And then we also have other Dieffenbachia and Dracaena. So I'm just going to walk around here and show you some of these large foliage plants for only $14.98 because they are on sale. This Dieffenbachia Sublime is just absolutely stunning. I really love the light foliage on it. It's just one of those plants, though, as tempting and as beautiful as it is, I just know that if I take this in my home, it's going to have a little bit of a struggle because number one, it is a little bit more spider mite prone. Number two, I don't have the best lighting conditions in terms of what the plant requires. And then number three, the watering situation. Dieffenbachias need a little bit more consistent watering. Even if they look similar to an Aglaonema, they need to be watered a little bit more frequently as compared to being more on the drier side. And then you can see right here, plant foldies, we've got Dracaena Massangiana, or what you call the corn plant or cane Dracaena. And you can just see that the merchandising of this Lowe's location is nice. It's very inviting. It definitely wants you to spend some money. I mean, look at this right here, Dracaena Limelight, $22.98, but it is on sale right now for $14.98. So as the Lowe's locations are starting to fill up with plants and more plants are readily available even during the summertime, it is an exciting time to go big box store plant shopping at Lowe's or even big box stores throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So if you're visiting Dallas, I hope you guys will take a look at some of the plants that I feature or some of the big box stores, and hopefully you're able to get some plants. Over here, we've got a Croton Petra. These are beautiful plants. Look at how bright the foliage is. You know, that is my aesthetic. I really like bright, colorful leaves. These plants do better though outdoors in full sun. And then you can see right here, we've got some Miracle Grow liquid fertilizer. I actually use that for my plants that are just growing in straight water. And then we also have some beautiful cordyline Hawaiian tea plants. These are the cordyline kiwis, which has multiple different types of colors, from maroon, burgundy, pink, neon green, green, and I really love the maroon stems. But this plant, like I said again, I would just recommend growing this outdoors in a shaded patio versus growing them indoors because they are a little bit more spider mite prone. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, hopefully you guys are enjoying this big box store plant shopping video today. I just want to highlight a lot of the big box stores. You know, I've really tried to be consistent about getting these big box or plant shopping videos because I really just like having us gather during the live premiere chats. It has become a daily routine for me. I think in terms of me, you know, finding ways to cope with some of my anxiety and my OCD, I really do believe that getting in a routine where I am focusing on something productive, something positive really helps with that. And, you know, for anybody that might be struggling with anxiety or depression, depression or anything of that nature, surround yourself with plants, surround yourself with people that are kind. Always have positive affirmations, because at the end of the day, self-care is the best care. And what better way to care for yourself than to be looking at plants, going big box or plant shopping with me, and just taking care of yourself, really enjoying the moment and all of the foliage that is surrounding us. And you can see right here, Urban Jungle has a new ceramic planter. This one is the Syndapsis exotica. And Urban Jungle has really stepped up its planter game, the aesthetics behind their planters, very artistic. It's not as modern and sleek as Live Trends design, but if you want something a little bit more funky, less intimidating in a sense that it's not as sleek, Urban Jungle is definitely the way to go. And then this stoneware planter right over here, it's another Sansevieria for $14.98. This one is by Live Trends Design. So I'm just going to pick up some more plants and show you what they have to offer. You'll notice that a lot of the big box stores typically have the same plants, but I don't mind looking at the same plants because foliage, green foliage, colorful foliage, any type of foliage is really good for your mind and your wellness, or at least I believe so. And it just inspires you. I think for me, growing plants really just keeps me in routine. It keeps me disciplined, and it makes me look towards something, whether it's new leaves unfurling, new propagations rooting, and just the growth itself. I would say that as you grow plants, I think even as an individual, we grow alongside our plants. Please leave in the comment section if you agree. And as always, plant foldies, if you made it this far into the video, I definitely hope that you have press the thumbs up or like button for this video. It definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself, and it just really helps support the channel. We are now at the point where we are almost at I think another 1,000 subscribers, and so I am super excited about that. And so let's go ahead and just pick up some more plants by Costa Farms, whether it's the $15.98 self-watering planters or the trending tropical plants such as the Monstera Thai Constellation and Philodendron White Knights that we have over here. This one is for only $19.98, and then the Monstera Thai Constellations are $29.98. As you can see, plant foldies, we've seen a lot of trending tropical plants, whether it is pothos plants or even the Epiprimnum pinnatum albo. We can see right over here, we got some lemon meringue pothos, $19.98. And even if these are commonly found trending tropical plants, I still appreciate them. There is something to be said about basic, easy care plants. Even this Epiprimnum pinnatum, even though a couple years back, super expensive, this is a pretty vigorous, fast growing plant. I will say for anything that is Epiprimnum pinnatum, you will need to give it bright indirect light or more so, otherwise it's going to push out more runners versus foliage, and you probably need to go ahead and put it on a moss pole or totem pole in order for it to grow up and actually size up. So that's just a couple of my care tips here. And then again, Dieffenbachias, like I just love the bright colors of a Dieffenbachia, the bright, vibrant green leaves. Dieffenbachia are not pet friendly though, so you really don't want your furry friends, even more so my baby chickens, for instance, nibbling away at those leaves. But as you can see right here, more philodendron white knights. Like, look at that beautiful variegation. And there was a time when this particular plant, maybe in 2020 during the pandemic, was several $100s, and now you can find this readily available at a big box store thanks to Costa Farms for only $19.98. You can see over here we've got some more Ficus elastica Taniki. This one is for $15.98 in a self-watering planter. So really feel like as we get more of these restocks from Costa Farms, Live Trends Design, and Urban Jungle Plants, there's just so many plants to pick from. And that's a reason why, while some people have their opinions about going big box or plant shopping, I think for the general public, if you want something cost effective, budget friendly, and easy care, oftentimes big box stores like Lowe's will definitely have these plants, like this Aglaonema red Siam, which I have talked about in pretty much every single video. If you are a plant foldie or call yourself a plant foldie, can you at least do me a favor and consider adding yourself an Aglaonema red Siam? It is one of the most underrated, overlooked plants. It is a plant that is super easy, and it's one of my favorites. It's literally the plant mascot of my YouTube channel, and I hope that we continue to grow more Aglaonema. Again, if you have Aglaonema and you have social media such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or anything of that nature, post your Aglaonema pictures, tag me at GrowFolds, and use the hashtag popularize Aglaonema, because we definitely want to get that campaign going where more and more people are going to possibly add Aglaonema in their plant collection. But as you can see right here, we've got a plethora of different types of Costa Farms plant. This one is a Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf tree. And then look at this massive Hoya. This one is a Hoya Crimson Queen. This one is for, I believe, $16.98. It's a really nice looking Hoya, and even though I'm not necessarily a Hoya head, I do appreciate it for them being super forgiving. And then take a look at this Hydra Helix. This one is a very interesting one. It almost looks like parsley or celery. Look at how curly the leaves are. It's just named Ivy, so I'm not sure what the actual name or cultivar is. What an interesting English ivy. I would actually buy this just because it looks very unique. I just really like the texture of the leaves. This one is for $20.98. Beautiful plant. Unfortunately, it is one I would not recommend growing indoors. And let's go ahead and just keep picking up some plants here. You'll notice that a lot of these hanging baskets actually have a lot of trailing vines, and that's a result of the plant growing in a big box store with ample amount of care to where it's pushed out some more growth. So that's really exciting. And I feel like if you go to a big box store, especially one that takes care of their plants, you can actually get a pretty size, good size plant for the same amount you would pay, but more growth on it. So I'm always on the lookout for really good plants that have hanging baskets that have like vining, because then you know that the plant has been thriving at the big box store. So as I round out this big box store plant shopping video today, I did want to just pan around here and just show you a little bit more of the Costa Farms exotic angel plants, those small plants for $5.98. as well as $8.98. And we do have some more self-watering planters. This is a Silver Streak Pothos for $15.98, also known as Epipremnum alplisimum. Silver Streak Pothos, I love this as well. And this is another plant that's easy to care for. You know, the metallic silver leaves on some of the plants, I am a huge fan of. As far as any of the other plants right here, I will ask any of the plant foldies in other parts of the country, have your big box stores actually restocked their plants? What does that look like for you on your end? I know that the DFW tends to have a advantage in terms of just plant selections, and that's the reason why I am just excited that I'm able to make big box stores. And I do want to thank everybody again for just, you know, taking the time to go watch my videos, even though that these the videos are pretty much the same format. It's just literally me rambling on for an hour. But if you guys enjoy this, if you find it entertaining, really appreciate that. You know, I always ask if you guys are able to leave comments comments or share these videos. That would be super exciting as well. But as I continue to pick up these plants in the timestamps, let me know in the comment section which plants you would buy, what plants you're looking for at the big box store, and we're just going to continue to, at least for me, plant window shop today. Isn't a massive restock of a bunch of plants. I will say that this particular Lowe's location has a great selection of Costa Farms plants, specifically the Costa Farms Exotic Angel line. You can see we've got some Dieffenbachia, we saw some Dracaenas, we've saw some begonias, and I believe behind there is another Manjula pothos for $5.98. You know, Manjula pothos have been popping up everywhere, and even at local nurseries, they are a little bit expensive, but you can see right here, only $5.98. I was actually tempted to buy this because look at how beautiful that variegation is. I can't get enough on Manjula pothos. The only thing I would say about Manjula pothos is that they are just a little bit slower to grow, and that's probably the reason why they're not as readily available. But now that I have 3 hanging baskets, one that's actually a mother plant from Costa Farms. I won that when I was at PlantCon 2025 in Orlando, Florida. Thank you to all the plant foldies that have actually left comments and messaged Costa Farms and letting them know that I really wanted it, because I ended up winning that Manjula pothos plant. But as you can see right here, if you are a fan of Costa Farms plants, you can definitely go to Lowe's and find some really good deals. You can see that they've got so many varieties to pick from, and it's always exciting to find like restocks. For me, I'm really trying not to inundate myself with a lot of plants, but sometimes it's just really challenging not to because of how healthy the plants are. And as I wrap up this big box store plant shopping video today, I really hope that you guys found some plants, found some good insights about plant care tips. Let me know in the comment section what specific plants you might want to see, but just know that I'm going to be spending some time filming brand new content this week. As always, please consider joining my YouTube membership tier. For the price of a cup of coffee, only $2.99, you'll have some access to some more exclusive membership only plans. And as always, my name is Richie at Growfolds. I hope you enjoyed today's big box store plant shopping video at Lowe's. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel with all the notifications turned on so you never miss a live premiere. And as far as today's video, hopefully you've enjoyed it, and know that throughout the week I will have some brand new content, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll see you then. Bye.